Hey guys, what's up? Joe here again with another vlog update on my readiness assessment and just kind of where I'm at now with sort of the progression towards my level 3. So in my last video, I mentioned that I was en route to go and do the filming that I needed to do for my readiness test for the LTA coaching. Um, the reasoning I needed this was because I don't have a high enough rating or didn't get to a high enough rating when I was competing regularly. So I had to film myself doing some tennis playing and some coaching. Now, to break down exactly what I needed to do, which I think is kind of important, and just kind of share that with you guys, I actually had to create 8 videos in total, which was quite a lot of filming to do in the end, especially um, probably more so than I really appreciated, and especially with trying to get everything right and everything the way that I wanted to give myself the best chance of making sure that I pass the assessment first time, but we'll see how that goes. So the 8 videos that I needed to do, I had my personal statement video, so that was very much just I had 3 questions to answer on that. One of them was uh, what I have learned since I did my level 2. I did that a few years ago, so that was quite a tricky one. But I've done other teaching and coaching since then, so it wasn't too difficult to do. It wasn't very tennis specific, but I have learned a lot in terms of teaching and things, just in other capacities that I've been in. So there was that. I then had to do a kind of a mock lesson, I guess, doing demonstration of how to hit a serve, explaining what the chopper grip was, and then also doing an explanation of how to direct the serve. I had to hit 9 demonstration serves in total across the video, and I had to make 7 out of 9 of those, also with the directional work as well. So that was actually kind of challenging in a way, which I wasn't really expecting, mainly because I don't do a lot of serving these days. I mean, with coaching and stuff, I don't play very often. If I do play, it's all underarm feeding. So to get the direction on the serve, I definitely had to take a few attempts at that one to make it look a little as clean as I could get it, and so that I was relatively happy with that video. I then had to do a essentially like a mock feeding drill. So they ask you to set up some lines, some channels on the far end of the court. I have the basket next to me, and I had to do topspin feeding into the channels and do 6 alternating right and left sides. That one wasn't too bad. I think I got that one pretty comfortably, although the number of times that I made a mistake off the first ball was kind of embarrassing, but it is what it is. And then I also had to do. Uh, there were then 4 videos that required a hitting partner. So the first one of that, and thankfully I've got a friend at the club who's a very good player, and he can hit super consistently, and that made my life a lot easier in this regard. But the hitting ones were I had to do sort of chopper grip flat hitting, so to show that I could hit a ball with no spin if I was pretending I was hitting to like a beginner player essentially. So kind of taking all the spin off the ball, making it super easy for them to hit, and again directing it kind of left and right, and doing a certain number of shots each side, and then stopping, and then going again. So I had to do that one. I then had to do cross-court hitting on the forehand side and the backhand side. Again, showing my technique, showing that I can play tennis. Now, the requirement on this was it had a minute to do it, and the requirement was I had to hit 12 quality balls within that minute, going cross-court using the desired shot in that direction. Now, believe it or not, my forehand is actually in some regards weaker than my backhand. So I struggled a little bit on the forehand. I definitely had to take a couple of attempts at that. I did take a couple of attempts at the backhand, but I did manage to get on pretty clean. But the forehand one, we'll see. I tend to have a habit of dropping the ball a bit short. So we'll see. They didn't really give any definition of what they considered quality. They just said quality forehands. So we'll see what they decide on that one. And then the uh, final one that required a hitting partner was volleying down the line in half a court. So tram lines were out, and now it wasn't until actually afterwards, after I captured the video, that I properly read the requirements again, and it said I needed to hit 12 quality volleys over the service line in a minute. And they had to be a mixture of forehands and backhands, with at least 4 of those shots being backhand volleys. Now, thankfully, I did manage to do that. I've counted it a couple of times, and I'm pretty certain that I managed to hit that. But I hadn't read the bit about the 12 shots needing to go over the line. So I think I've done it. I'm pretty sure from the footage that I've got, I managed to get that one done. So that was video number 7. And then the final video, and this was the one that I actually really struggled with, because it was my serving one, so different serving video that I needed to do. but I had to split the service boxes into half on both service boxes. So I essentially had 4 zones. I had an out wide and a down the tee for my due side, and an out wide and down the tee for the advantage side. I had to hit four serves into each of those boxes, and across the 16 serves that I hit, I had to make 10 into the right area and with the ball bouncing outside the court on the second bounce. So I attempted this a couple of times the other week in my first session doing this, and I was really close on it. Like, I just really struggled to get the consistency of it. Like, I'd have like a couple of really good ones in one area, and then they'd just, completely lose it in another area, or vice versa. And again, it's just 'cause I don't play that much. Like, so it was a tough one to do. Anyway, I decided, so I did about 2 hours of filming on the Friday to try and get this. I reviewed all of the videos kind of over the weekend, which was also quite tough to have a mate staying with me. So then I ended up having to review all these videos when I could, and I then last minute booked another hour-and-a-half session in on the Sunday to then go back and re-record a couple of them. So I re-recorded mainly the serving one. I really wanted to get that one down. And again, I'm pretty confident with having achieved that now. But I also re-recorded my basket feeding one, and then my serving kind of demonstration one. But I actually didn't end up using those bits of footage. So I did redo the serve, and I managed to get a more convincing serving uh, a bit of part of the assessment done. So all in all, was about 3.5 hours of filming, being on court and trying to work through stuff, which was really tough. And then I've today gone through the whole process. I actually sent it to another old coach of mine, a guy called Kirk Woodall, who I used to be coached by. He does a lot of filming now. He's got a big Instagram page. Well, he's got an up and coming Instagram page, and maybe I should say. He's head coach at the club in Stourbridge there, and I sent it to him to kind of just get a second opinion to make sure that he didn't see anything overly obvious, and then I've submitted them off today. But in order to submit them, I needed to actually upload them onto YouTube and then send the links across to like the assessors, and there's a whole kind of format that they like to do that with. Now, those videos are not available. I'm not making those available publicly on the request of the assessors, and also for my own personal reasons, I don't want to make those available publicly. But at some point in the future, I may release some clips, bits and pieces. Once I've sorted out my video editing, it's on my kind of list of things that I want to learn at some point. So maybe people get a sneak peek at that in a later video. If I was skilled with editing, I'd obviously like do a chop now and I'd go, here's some footage, but I don't have that. I'm not doing that at the moment. I'm just trying to keep these as one shot vlog videos still. So yeah, all in all, was a long process. And then just to add on top of it, to really make things extra frustrating, was whilst I was doing my footage on the Sunday, and I got myself nice and warmed up, I got my tripod set up, and I said I've got my extendable tripod, and it was actually a really windy day, so I hadn't really thought of it, but I was struggling a bit with the serve to get going, and I hit on the first, I think I was on the advantage side, and my first 8 serves to the advantage side were really clean, like really, really good. I think I made like 7 out of 8 of them. I was like, great, this is fantastic. And as I walked down the other end, I noticed that the tripod was on the floor with my phone face down next to my tripod. Really annoyingly, I broke my screen on my phone. So I ended up having to go and ask, thankfully, a very kind lady who works at reception, who I've never really met before. I've seen her in passing a couple of times, but I kind of went and introduced myself properly, and I kind of asked her very nicely to borrow her phone for like an hour and a half, 45 minutes, not an hour and a half, about half an hour to 45 minutes even. And thankfully she said yes. So I then got her phone set up, made sure my tripod was then completely secure, and I made sure it was weighted down and it definitely wasn't going to fall over, and redid the recording on her phone. So thankfully, there are good people in the world that are willing to help out. But yeah, bit of a stress on that front as well. So I have now got my phone repaired. It did break right on the fingerprint sensor, which is super annoying because it's broken the sensor in the phone, and that's too expensive to fix. But the screen now works again. So we're back in action with some filming. I was hoping to get a video out sooner, but I couldn't do any recording on my phone because of whether the break in the screen was causing it to essentially kind of keep like pausing and unpausing the video and messing with like the zoom and stuff like that. So I couldn't actually do any recording on my phone, hence why this is coming out probably a couple of days later than I wanted it to. So I think that kind of covers everything. As I said, I just wanted to give a flavour of where I was at with this. I don't know how much I'm going to be doing specifically towards the level 3 in the next sort of month, I think. I'm hoping that the assessors get my videos back to me, or get my outcome of the videos back to me in the next couple of weeks. Obviously, we have Christmas in the middle of that as well, so I'm sort of taking that into consideration. So I'm hoping by like the first, maybe second week of Jan, they've got something back to me. Fingers crossed I pass the assessment. Obviously, worst case scenario, I don't pass. They give me some feedback and there's some things I need to work on. And if that's the case, I will continue to do this. I'll continue to work on some things. Definitely feel myself working on bits and pieces and playing, and because I've actually found that having those recordings, I'm actually seeing myself play for the first time in quite a long time, and it's been really valuable for me to see my own technique and to see where I'm already picking up on bits and pieces that I think I could improve on. So um, I'm hoping that I will be able to continue to do this videoing, even if I don't get a chance to do this level 3 in January that I want to do. I'm hoping that another one will come about maybe towards the middle of the year, which is more accessible for me. And yeah, I can keep doing these posts. Um, I think that covers everything from me. There was one final thing that I was going to say, which is I mentioned in my last video that I'm doing this 7-video challenge, and I used the last video as kind of video number 1 for that challenge. I am now going to make a separate series and kind of expand out. I always had the idea that I would expand out my channel anyway at some point, and as part of the 7-video challenge, I've kind of started looking into it a little bit more, and it looks like that's kind of naturally how it's going to progress. So I'm going to keep these sort of vlog posts going in a bit more informal style, but I'm going to start working on some bits and pieces towards that 7-video challenge, and expand out a little bit of a different area within the YouTube channel. That means that I'm not just relying on talking about my level 3 coaching and that side of things. So that's something to look forward to. Again, if you've watched the previous 2 videos, thank you very much. Please do like, comment. If you feel like giving a follow or a subscribe, please do. I will always try and comment back as well if you drop a comment. I love hearing from you guys as well. So it'd be great for you guys to get in touch. And until next time, thanks for watching.